Let's see. Oh, we got a request from an 8Q. Let's accept that. Say hello. And zoom in. Let's see. I am Gote here. I mean, Sente. I go first. So he goes for the fourth file rook. So I'm gonna do a static rook. Oh, it's interesting. So no attempt to defend the bishop's head here. Let's go ahead and I see. If I push, you can take. I'll take. Let's block that diagonal. There was some kind of line there where the rook gets distracted and then the bishop can drop with an attack on the silver here, which is undefended. Okay, so then he decided to defend with the bishop. That's what I wanted to know. I could have played that move instead of pushing the pawn, but this I think is okay too. So let's go ahead with Yagura Castle. Oh, not a Yagura, Snowroof Castle. Look at that. He started to push his rook pawn here. So now when he pushes, I will take the bishop and then push this pawn. That's my plan. So that's why I opened up the diagonal here. Okay, so let's finish my setup here. I want the silver up here, the king over. He wants to push that pawn. I don't think that's a problem, but let's bring this silver up to defend. He's trying to set up a, yeah. So I take, he takes. With the silver to defend this. And then he's got a bishop drop against my rook. So where would the bishop go? Here, here. And would also be striking. So I take, he takes, it's my turn. I just need to protect this diagonal or prevent the bishop from going here. So let's go ahead and take. And I'll just, that's one way to do it. Guard that square so there's no bishop drop there. Put a silver here. Let's see, how about king checks here, 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 here. So if the bishop drop here checks my king, I just step over. Bishop drops here. I can just lift up this silver, but I think it's better just to not let the bishop go there. For some reason I was thinking after the exchange I'd be able to push this pawn, but that is not correct at all. Let's see, I should be looking for my bishop drops. There's one here hitting the rook. Okay, he was waiting for that. Or actually, he could have done that right away. So that hits my rook and escapes. So he gets a horse. So where can he escape to? This square only. Of course, I'm not attacking. I am not easily attacking that bishop, so it could just stay there. but it decided to run. Okay, I could drop a bishop here. That would hit his horse, and it would hit the silver here. Yeah, let's get my king off the diagonal of his bishop. He has no pieces to drop now, so let's just hold steady and see what he does. Got this diagonal pretty well covered, so he advances on the flank. I might switch to the next file over and try and take advantage of his exposed silver. And it's not really exposed. Okay, he's switching. He's looking at this pawn now. And diagonally this way. This area here. So just taking that pawn, huh? So I push. Silver takes. I push. Looks pretty strong for me. Although, I've been losing a lot of games recently, so I don't know. My judgment may be off. He could have just taken. I don't see any reason not to take, but he wanted to come here, maybe. Yeah, I mean, he could have just gone bonk, bonk. Okay, so we go here and promote. Now we're threatening to come in. Yes, he grabs a pawn. Let's attack the horse and the lance. This horse here, his horse, is protecting here. And he drops a pawn. His silver is not protected there, so if I go here and attack his silver, he attacks my rook, and when I take the silver, he will take my lance, and then I will take his knight. So I'll buy that. If he doesn't take the lance right away, I can lift this silver up. Okay, so this knight is defended. This knight I can take. He's got a lance he can drop now. Okay, he's looking to maybe distract me with this pawn push, but I can just take that. Let's promote another pawn. So he went there with his rook. So I can take this lance. If he tries to drop a lance here, my promoted pawn can take it. I'm planning to drop a lance here myself. Yeah, so he drops a pawn there. So let's see the best way to do this. Say I drop lance here. He takes my gold. I take his rook. He takes my silver. So he gets 2 pieces for the rook, but I've already got some pieces. I already captured a silver. And I can penetrate with my rook, maybe. Is there a better way? Is there a better outcome here? How about if I just step aside? I step aside, he will push and promote. Could step aside this way. Helping to defend the silver here. Blocking that annoying horse. Okay, now we can do this. If the rook moves, I will take that token. If he takes the silver, at least he's just getting 1 piece. He's not getting 2. So I think that's a good deal for me. So he runs. Yeah, let's just take this token. He can have the knight. And I will step back here. Wanted to have some more defense here anyway. He can take the knight. He could have taken knight anyway with a tempo on my silver. Okay, so bring this in. Start getting rid of pieces around his king next. He has the same idea. Okay, but we can take here first with check. Then we can bring in the rook and promote it. So also, you know, I do have all these pieces in hand. Is there something stronger? Yeah, when he takes this silver here, it'll be a bit annoying. He also has this knight drop here. It's annoying because I can't take back with this silver. I'd have to take with the king because the silver is pinned. I could place a pawn here to block out the rook. I'm doing this double pawn drop trick. I still have to take with the king, I guess. Anyway, yeah, I'm doing this double pawn drop trick, so if the rook takes that pawn, I'll drop another pawn. Aha. Well, I take his rook, he takes my rook. I could just step back, but then he'll take the then he will take that lance. So I'd rather not allow such a simple thing. So let's go ahead and take this pawn. That's with check. Now what? If I drop a rook here, he can block it. If I drop a rook here, bishop here or here, so rook here, check, he can bring something over. I'm just stopping his checks. Being a bit cautious here. Yeah. I can drop a bottom pawn here. Okay, well, that's not a check. Can I do something? There, defend my gold. He has a gold and a rook in hand, so my idea was to run. Run with the king. He's not so easily reaching me with the pieces he has on the board, and the gold has no great drops. Okay, he wants to defeat my my lance. I have another lance. I just realized. So lance here. I should do a pawn drop, right? To distract the king and take off these golds. Threatening to take there, or maybe to come here. He runs. I'm gonna keep taking. Run, 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 little king. Okay, now if anything he interposes, I have a silver I can drop. And then I can take it. Very close to mate. Yeah, he resigned. All right, nice game. We can maybe check that out in the post-mortem. How quickly I could have mated him. It looks like he wants to go back. I can go back to full screen mode here. And it looks like he wants to play a different move there. He wants to play rook there. But I can just take it. Because the silver is pinned. I mean the gold is pinned. Okay, so like I said, we will check this out in the postmortem. See you guys later. Bye. Well, you can see by the graph that I did okay this game. I was giving back the advantage to my opponent on several occasions, but I always kept it at least even, so I never got into a losing position anyway, which is a relief because I'd been on a 7-game losing streak. But we can still see a number of my typical mistakes in this game, so let's go check it out. I guess the first thing I wanted to point out was actually a mistake by my opponent. It's this move here. It's the first move that's marked by a question mark by Elmo here. Yeah, it seems he's giving away this pawn for not much. I mean, I understood his idea. He wants to drop a bishop on this square, and from that square it will fork my rook and my lance after a bishop trade. So he's pushing that pawn forward to open up that diagonal. But it's just a little bit slow. I have time to defend against it, and so it doesn't really work. Although the interesting thing here is that the computer thinks my response was a bit of a mistake. So he goes here to open up the diagonal for the bishops. I go ahead and trade. I trade first, so I have time to defend against the bishop drop, and I just push this pawn forward to stop him from dropping a bishop to that square. He can't put it there now because it's guarded by the pawn. The problem is he can put the bishop he could drop the bishop on this square, and that's what he should do. So that's where the evaluation goes back to even, if he had found that drop there. And he does eventually play that in the game, so I think in a move or two. So the defense, if we back up here, the defense that that Elmo is recommending is just bringing the knight out. And that makes sense. You just bring the knight out to this square. If he drops the bishop here, you can block it with a silver or a knight. And so it's no problem. I don't need to push that pawn. And when I don't push that pawn, then that means his bishop drop to this square is not all that effective. It hits my rook, but it doesn't escape out this side. So that's the difference this pawn push makes. With the pawn push, now he can drop the bishop there and escape. So and he spots that idea right here. Yeah. So he gets to promote the bishop because he can drop it there and then he can escape and make it into a horse. But this is not enough to give him the advantage. I mean, a horse is a good piece to have, but it's over here on this side of the board, and he still hasn't castled. My king is pretty safe here still. So this is not a fatal mistake. In fact, it still likes my position here. So let's go forward. So he makes a few more mistakes here. He could just take that pawn. Yeah, Elmo's recommending silver just takes the pawn. But my idea was a good one. I push that pawn forward so that I distract that silver, and then I can push the other pawn forward. And now I'm threatening to take this pawn. If the silver were here, it'd be defending that pawn. So that would be something anyway. I guess I could push forward anyway, and he could trade it off. But I would win a silver that way. But this way I get a promoted pawn, a token here with the rook behind it. So that's pretty powerful. And I am in good shape to win at this point. And then let's see, here's a move that's a mistake. I just moved the pawn forward here. Yeah, I'm just cashing in on my advantages. But what I'm not looking out for is what my opponent can do to me, and that's one of my weaknesses, which catches me every so often. But he has this pawn in hand, and he can drop it here on the head of my rook, and so that's a problem, and I should deal with that. And the Katago is suggesting, or Elmo here is suggesting, just move the rook to 2e. So rook 2g to 2e. It gets the rook here ahead of the pawn drop. Well, the pawn could still be dropped here, but I guess more importantly, it's attacking that silver, which is loose. And so then I can push that pawn forward after the silver responds in some way. Okay, so but anyway, it turns out I got lucky here. So better lucky than good, because after he drops the pawn here, he spotted that tactic this time. I can move my rook to the side and at least attack his silver. So this is okay for me. And here I take his silver, and he took the lance. Let's see. It's at one point here. Where is it? Rook 4b takes 2b. It's this move here. Yeah. So after I threaten his silver, Katago is recommending just taking that token before it does any more damage. He wasn't able to save the silver anyway, and it might be more valuable to have that than this lance in the corner anyway. But well, he decided to try and pin my rook, and when I move the rook, he's able to take the lance that's there behind it. But I figured it's better to take that silver. And so I did. Took the silver, and this is all good for me. Let's go on to the next mistake. It's right about here. Yeah, this funny move. I thought this was a good move here, the lance attacking his rook. But once again, I was overlooking my opponent's best response, which is to bring the horse back here. And when the horse comes back there, when the horse comes back to 4f, it attacks my rook, and we end up with a rook trade. I take his rook, he takes my rook, and so that's not nearly as good as what I was hoping to get. So I was lucky he didn't play that, and then after his move, he just moved the rook aside, and I grabbed this token in my camp, and then I'm just winning from here on, so we can just go forward. I didn't let him mate me this time, and that's the other way I've been losing games, is I get to a good position, but then I start throwing it away. And so I keep the advantage through all of this part, and at the end he resigned. There was actually a forced mate in 6, it says here. I think I would have found it. He's in check. He has to drop a piece here. He could drop, for example, the rook. It's what's being recommended. And then I drop a silver here. And because the rook is pinned, he can't take the silver, so the king runs. And then I could just take the rook. He can interpose another piece, and then I can take that. And so between the silver and the dragon, he is mated there. So not too hard to find that mate. Anyway, it was a nice game. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.